Hey guys, it's Rich from Over the Fender Garage. Well, we've got the tailgate all sanded up. It's all finished. This is ready for primer. Came out pretty nice. I didn't do down in here where all the bot welds. I don't think it's that bad. They don't feel bad. I think primer will take care of them, but we'll see. But that's ready for a coat of primer. I have to yank all this out here because, man, you can't pull on that handle. That handle is stuck. So I need to get that out of there and get that working again. But the hood scoop I've got here, I've got to fill in this back. There used to be turn signals in here. I'm going to block those off and cover them up. So I got that left. And that's basically all that's left of body work. That's big. And then got the bumpers here and the valance. This is all finished up, all ready for primer. They came out looking pretty good. So now I'll get a couple of heavy coats of primer on this. And then they need to be sanded down to about 500 grit to turn them into a mold, because you don't want the stuff sticking to them. So they got to be smooth enough that you can wax them and put all the stuff on them to make molds out of these. So those are ready. And then while I was at it, at the end of the day, I got my A-pillars done. I went and fiberglassed in both my A-pillars. So I can yank these both off here. And those are done. I can get the dash out and get this ready. I can primer all this stuff up hopefully today. This is all finished. Needs a little bit of fine tuning, but we get some primer on it and see. It doesn't have to be perfect since it's getting covered with leather, but it should be about 90%. You don't want any big lumps or anything in it. And stuff like this, scratch, won't matter. So that's not a big deal. But I got a little bit right here, but that might be below the console, but I'll fix it anyway. Because you don't want something like that to show if it doesn't, because don't have the exact plans for the console yet. So, but for the most part, it's done. And then I can start making up my pods. And while I was at it, I cut this piece out of here. So the plan is here is I'm going to take these tabs I left on here and I'm going to bend these back, hold a piece of wood, so the wood will come up flush. And I'll put a seam right here so this piece of wood could come out of here. And I'm going to take it down to this bump right here. And I'll mount it right here. It's the old gas tank screws. There's one there, it's broke off, but I'll use those screws to hold the bottom. And hopefully these tabs, I can get them to work to hold the top. We'll see. But if not, I can use a couple of these bolts to hold it in there. And this will come through here. The wood will end here, and I'll wrap this piece with the piece of fiberglass. Got to figure out how to make this so it's removable. I'm gonna have to put a seam here somewhere. I don't think I can get it to where I can bend this fiberglass out, but we'll see. It doesn't have to be really thick, but then I have a place, you know, to put jumper cables and a couple quarts of oil and whatnot inside here, and put a stereo in, place for the stereo stuff to go. So that'll be cool, that'll all be done, because you don't want to store anything in a bed since there's nothing there, you know, it's not covered or anything. But other than that, what we've got left to do is come up with a door panel idea. I gotta switch that around a little bit and then figure out this console. And we'll get that console idea going through here. Well, I'll do this first and then I'll jump down on that console and get that console started or some kind of an idea. I got a little bit. So I got this through here. All right. Once I went and tightened this up, and the tape's falling off. I can tighten that up to the floor, and I put a mark on the dash. Figure out some way to mount this thing up to it. I got the angle for my back, so I can cut that off. Because this will have to be joined right here, because otherwise you won't be able to get the console out. Because the dash gets wider, so there would be no way to get this piece off. I figure out how to mount this up. So it'll have to have a seam like right here, somewhere in this general area, somewhere where you really can't see it. So you can lift this piece out and then slide this piece back and lift it out. Other than that, it's all coming along great. So we'll get that and probably work on the door panels after that. Get something figured out for those. And do a little rain gutter right here on the doors. Just so when the heavy rain don't get water inside the cab. It's like a little idea over here. That's it right here. Piece of 1/4-inch rod. And I'll take this 1/4-inch rod and I'll just weld it right there on top of the door. And that'll give me a rain gutter on the inside of the door. So any heavy rain will go off there. So, other than that, all that's left to do is the fuel neck. So, getting really, really, really close. What we'll do here is I'll get on making this piece and figure out the idea for making it go around the corner here. And probably get started on the mock-up of the console. So I can kind of have all that stuff ready, so I'll get this stuff out of here. So hopefully today and get it primed up. So let's get on her, get her done. These will pop off pretty easy. Some of these flat scrapers, you just get in here behind it and give it a little not 100% cured yet. It usually takes about 24 hours for it to set up 100%. And sometimes like this, these will actually pop off by themselves. You'll start to see spots where it looks lighter. It's because it's already popping itself off. That's what it'll do in a mold too. But I want to pop them off now while they're still a little soft, so they can get out of my way. It's one thing with fiberglass, you need to have a time for it to set up, depending on what you're doing. So you kind of got to plan around it. But it is great stuff to work with once you learn how to use it. You make so many different things out of it. Just like that. Now this little shoe down here will cover up any gap that I have between my dash and the A-pillar. So I'll just fill that in with a little bit of glass, fiberglass bondo right there. But I won't do anything with this until I have my windshield set in, because I don't know if the gasket goes all the way up against the metal. It looks like it does by the clean spot that's on here. So I'll hold off on taking that any further than what it is right now. And certain things like this, you gotta wait until you have everything else in place, because you need to be able to get these off to lift the dash out. So that came out beautiful. And just like that, everything's cleaned up, and I don't have to do any cleaning now. It's all on the tape. All right, there it is. All right, it's like that. The packing tape is actually stuck right here on the back of it. And carefully peel this off so it gets air to it, and it'll finish curing out. It's just ever so slightly sticky. That's all it is. It's like this edge here, I'm not worried about it. You can kind of see the marks. You won't be able to see it on the camera, but you can see the marks on where this is, so you can cut it off. That's why this spot's not finished all the way, because I don't waste resin on stuff that doesn't need it. I put it on the main part, stuff like that. No reason to waste it. Stuff's too expensive. But it's all ready to go now. So get the other one off and get to work on this back piece. We've got this piece of wood cut. Where did I put my, oh no. Oh, there it is. It fits in here pretty nice. I'll show you what I got here is with this bump right here, it's coming basically right to the edge of that door out there. So I don't want that to be sticking out that far. So what I'll do is I'll cut the back of this. There's a pencil. Pencil. Oh, pencil. Sharpie. I'll take it and I will cut it like this or sand it. Probably easier just to sand that. So it just moves it back a little bit. That should move it back far enough from that. If not, I'll have to put it up on top of the bump, but that's close enough. And what I'll do is I'm gonna fiberglass over the top of this stuff anyway. Particle board, you do not wanna leave any of this stuff exposed to weather. Even humidity. It'll start sagging and warping and it'll be disgusting. So it needs to be painted with something, fiberglassed. Just anything to keep the stuff stable. Once you got it sealed, it's stable. It ain't going nowhere. It's pretty good stuff after that. But as it is in this form right here, in a year from now, this thing would be all sagged back. So Always got to seal this stuff, but the front will be leather, so basically be sealed anyway, but I'll still prime it or seal it with some fiberglass resin or something. Even varnish will work. But I'm going to do this little notch here so it gets back, because that's how I'm going to mount this. I'm going to fiberglass up onto it, and the fiberglass will come down, so I got the bolt holes, and the fiberglass will be holding it. And then we'll have these fiberglass turns right here. So, yank that out of there. We'll sand this back piece off. Hopefully it goes up as far as I want it to. And that should be just about done. So I'll have to change my console a little bit. So I already cut that piece. So we'll fill that piece in, and then we should be able to get on to doing some console stuff, I think. Awesome. All right. All right, now we take and slide this in here and stick it on top of these two screws here. Used to hold the gas tank. Look at that. Beautiful. Just like that. And now I've got this sunk down further. I bent these tabs back at 3/4 of an inch. I have a 1/2 inch piece of MDF, so it'll sit down in that hole a little bit. And then when you wrap over the top, it'll bring it out. It won't be exactly flush. It'll be set back a tiny bit, so it'll not be sticking out. But that's how it'll go, just like that. And then these corners, I'll fill this piece in with fiberglass. So that's cleaned up. Use the bottom 2 bolts as the mounting for it. And then with the console, should be able to cut this off. This should be pretty close. The stuff is all double thick cardboard. Works really nice for this kind of stuff. Super strong. Oh, look at that. Beautiful. So then this center section right here will lift out. I can slide this piece back to lift it out. So everything will be easy to work on in here. This, I don't know if I can leave it in one piece. I'll find that out when I go and make it up. I hope that I can. You should just be able to just pry this piece of fill in over here, pry it, and then slide it out. But that's all perfect. And then this makes basically the backrest for the center console seat. So that'll be there. And then any storage or anything will be behind it. You could make this lift up, storage through there. Maybe somehow something through here. I don't know, not at that point yet, but one will be right here. You just lift it up like jumper cables and stuff like that. A little bit of oil or whatnot. I'll be right there behind it. So that part is taken care of. So now we can figure out how I'm going to mount this up here. I think a screw right through this should hold it. One screw there and one screw there. Where am I at here? I got oh, it's about 5/16. You got the thickness of the leather, so it should sit right about where I'm hoping it'll sit, just below that line. So that'll be cool. That'll work out great. So let's attach this and we'll fill these things in. Okay, there is the back panel. It's set in there. And oop, now I've got, oh, it's about 1/2 inch. So now it'll sit back behind the gasket and behind the pillar here. So now I can go ahead and fill this in with a little bit of cardboard. Have to make some sort of a backer or something here. But hot glue cardboard back here, hot glue it onto here, because I got quite a bit, I think right there. I can come to about right here, somewhere in here with the cardboard, so that'll slope in. Then I can fiberglass that in. Same on the driver's side. And there is the console set in there, angle to that. So that fits in there really good. Everything here is basically set. See, there's my gap for, you got the leather from the headliner, you'll have the leather from this, and then the thickness of the two will bring it out a little further. And then if you need to space it out, it's easy to space out. Can't bring it in easy, but you'll be able to space it out easy. So that'll take care of that little spot. But I think the next thing I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna take my mock-up console out and I am gonna cut some pieces for that and get the console set in there as a rough in and see how that works. So far it's going together great. It all looks good, all fits good now. So that will be that on that part. So let's get that console made up and get into doing some fiberglass. Okay, I've got all the interior back in here so I can check everything out here. It's pretty comfortable and it all looks pretty good. I made my console. It's the main part of the mock-up. On this, I actually made it, it measured out to 9, I think it was 9 1/4. And right now, I made this one to 10 1/4. But then you got a half inch, so it's 11 1/4 on the outside. Where the other one was 9 1/4 on the outside on the cardboard. So you kind of got to compensate for that cardboard thickness. But it looks pretty good. I could shrink it up 1 inch, bring these to 9 1/4. That'll bring this to 10 1/4. But this comes out to be 7/8 of an inch on either side of this, and it is 1 1/4 inch because this, I put a step in this, so the step goes from here, same on the other side. So in here, it's like 1 1/4 inch on both sides. If I shrank this down 1 inch, it'd make that a little smaller, but we'll see. This part, I never finished the consoles until I'm into doing the upholstery. Because, you know, things change. Once you get everything wrapped and covered and set in place, it's always a good idea to wait on that kind of stuff. So, but this here, I have not, I got an idea what I might do to get this all to work out. I can either grind back a little bit of the wood so it fits up tight up against it, or I could just cut this or sand the fiberglass back right here so this piece slides in underneath it. Yeah, could go either way. I'll have to think about that a little bit, but that is my one thing I have to think about before I finish up this dash. But it all looks good. Let me jump out of here. Looks good with the back. This is all ready to go now. I can see where the seat sits, so I know where to put this at. I got my mark right here on my seat, so I know that the seat is centered off the steering wheel. But it all looks pretty good. Very happy with that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this out of here and I'm going to get some primer on that dashboard. Got a couple of nice days coming and then it goes to crappy weather. So I need to get some primer on that. And then I'll start filling in this piece here. Get that piece fiberglassed up. So that's done. And whew, not much left to do in there. Sit and think about these door panels. I'm going to do them. See on that. Other than that, I am happy with everything else on it. So we'll get primer on all this stuff. I got to get primer on the bumpers and stuff. So I'm going to get on that. I get that part done. All right, so now set up to do this piece here. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to wrap this with some cardboard. The best stuff to use for this stuff. As you've noticed, everything gets made out of cardboard first. And why not? You get crap loads of it when you're building a car. You might as well put it to use. But the next thing I'm going to do here is I have to wrap this kind of like this, but I don't want to have that piece stuck in my channel where the weather strip goes. So what I need to do is I need to take some pieces of wood here and glue them in here so they're back about 1/2 inch. I think should be about a good spot. And then take and take a piece of cardboard and stick it over the top of those blocks to give you something to glue this cardboard to, so it'll be back behind it. So basically pretty simple. You just gotta find different pieces of wood. That's why I always got a bunch of old scraps laying around. And the good old hot glue gun. Just gonna kind of eyeball it. Stick it on there. Work myself around. It's nice because it sticks pretty fast. Most of the time it sticks pretty good. Just long enough for you to do what you gotta do. The only thing I don't have though is seat belts. I need to find out how, because this one's it's actually got a bolt for a shoulder harness. I've never seen one in one of these old trucks like that. But I don't know if the coil goes, how it goes on the floor here. So I might have to change this later on in this little spot. So I don't know. I'll get on trying to get those ordered, see if I can find them, and then just change it out. No big deal. But everything else can be finished out, I think, hopefully. That would suck to have to redo the whole thing. But if it mounts behind it, I just put a slit through it and bring the belt up through it. So shouldn't be too much of an issue, I hope. But you can't think of everything all the time, and you can't have every single thing you're gonna do here while you're working on it. Doesn't usually work out that way. Lots and lots and lots of hot glue. All right, now if I get one right there, got some 1/2-inch plywood here, and it sits. Well, actually, if I go to about right there, that'd be a good spot. Uh-oh. So, all right, just like that. Now, give me a piece of long stuff here. Wrong grain. Do I have anything with the right grain? So I try to use the grain to my advantage. You got it going up and down this way, it bends, make a nice curve this way. If you got something straight like this, and you put the grain like this, you can make a pretty strong backer right there. And I don't have a piece sitting here. It's got the right grain. Now we got the right grain. So make this one fit in here. The single strength like this will cut, if you got a good pair of scissors, will cut pretty good. But the double strength stuff, it is easier to use tin snips, sheet metal scissors. That other stuff is hard to cut. And see, just like that. Glue that in there. Now I've got something to back to, and I'm back far enough that it'll hold it away from my channel. Gives me a nice area to glue the rest of the cardboard pieces onto. Oh, I just broke one loose. Oh, I broke two loose. Nope. Ah, okay. Didn't work. Try again. It happens. All right, here we go again. I cleaned it up with a little sandpaper, washed it with a little thinner. Should stick now. All right, I think it'll stay. Now, right there. Put this back on again. All right. Success this time. All right, now a little spot like here because of the curve. Just take and put some glue in here. Kind of a little extra to help it. Don't want it falling off again. All right, just like that. Now, here's my one I got started. It's right here. Let's see, right about there. That's cut that off there. All right, should be close enough right there. Just a little curve up. Okay, right there. Right here. Get you up there. Oh, very uncomfortable place to sit. And this, just like the wood, I've got this top piece set back. And just like at the jam here, it's kind of set back. Right here, it's not really very far back, but I can fix that by putting more on the back side of it. So a little hang nail behind there. The better you get this part down, the less work there is to do on top. So I usually just take my time doing this part. Much better results in the end. I gotta trim that over there. Okay, there. Get a little right here. And you could put foam over the top of that too, if you wanted to smooth it out better. It's like the dash. Really unlimited ways to do this stuff. You glue on top like this, make sure you don't have a big pile, because that will put a lump in the fiberglass. Helps to have air hose or something, lightly blow on it, just something to blow at it, make it hard up faster. I'm gonna go ahead and finish this one out, and finish that one out, and then we'll get on to fiberglassing this. I got my back panel done. It's the next day. It's all dry. I'm ready to come out of here. So what I'll do is I'll try to get it out before I cut it. Hopefully I don't have to cut it in the truck. But I got it all marked out on where that edge is approximately. It should show on the other side when I pull it out, but I usually try to mark them a little bit so I got a general idea of where it's going to get cut. And then I got to drill holes. One's for the seat belt is probably going to be underneath this. And then the ones that are going to attach, I made a Sharpie mark right here because it's sitting right there. There's one right there and there's one over there. I have to drill and weld a nut on the bottom for this one because this one was rusted out. So I got to fix that one. So it'll have 4 bolts at the bottom. And it came out pretty good. This will happen. The MDF sucked in the resin. Not a big deal for what it is. But the next thing to do is try to get it out of there in one piece. I'm hoping it'll come out in one piece. It'd be nice to keep it that way because I want to cut the access in this area right here. It's when I do my center console, 3rd seat back, so that'll cover that up and you'll be able to put stuff back behind it. But the seat belts, I was looking at them. They're the ones for the shoulder harness are ones I've used before, so I'm kind of familiar with them. And what they sell is they sell a little L bracket that goes on them. So I should be able to mount it flat against this piece and then run it up so it won't interfere with anything I've got, which is a good thing. I don't have to change anything. So the next thing to do is get this ready to come out of here. Cross my fingers it comes out easy. But then I also got the dash set back in there, all primed up. I forgot to do the centerpiece and then ran out of primer when I found it. So, but that's all right. It's just something so I could get a general idea of what it looked like. It came out extremely nice. Really nothing I have to fix on it. I don't see any lumps or bumps or waves or anything. But that's mainly just to protect it from the glue. I don't like shooting that upholstery glue straight onto stuff. I like to have a primer underneath it. Don't have any issues down the road with it. And if you ever have to change it, it should come off easier. It's not an easy glue to pull stuff off of, but that should give a fighting chance if you have to change it down the road. And I also made my kick panels. They're cut and stuck on here. They're just sitting in here. But they're in there. Kind of got to do a little more trimming on them. I made the pods here so I can start coming up with an idea for the pods. I still have to go through and figure out which gauges I want to use. I'm not real sure on that part yet. But in general, it's coming together. So get that out of there, get it cleaned up back in there, and then probably throw the seats back in and the console and everything, and maybe start to work on a door panel idea, because the one I had in my mind is not going to work. So that one will be out. Have to come up with a new idea. But other than that, it's coming together great. I love it. More and more I look at it, the more I love it. So let's try to get this back panel out of here, see how it works, and cross my fingers that I do not have to cut it. So it'd be great to keep it in one piece. But we'll find out here in a minute. All righty, let's get that out of there. All right, now. The idea is once this is trimmed, it should be able to slide that way and then slide out. That's what I'm hoping. I don't know if it's going to do it not being cut. But this is thin enough, I should be able to get this to bend. We'll find out here in a minute. because I didn't fully layer it yet. I want to do that from the back side. That's why it's nice to do all this stuff before you paint a vehicle. You don't have to worry about scratching any paint. That one's coming up easy. All right. Now, if we can get it to flex. These are great tools to add to your tool arsenal. They're all made for hoses and stuff. You can get a radiator hose, you know, when they're stuck on there, you slide that in there and you can loosen it, or heater core lines and stuff like this. You can reach behind it. Come on. Oh, lost it. Oh, it's stuck right at the top. Here's gonna come out. Oh, there it is. There it is. Come on. It's so close. I don't want to pull it off because you'll be able to pull it off this MDF board if you pull too hard on it. Just kind of want to be careful of that, because when I get it out of here on the back side, I'll grind this edge back to where it's a good amount off of it, and then I'll finish the bond from the back side, so it'll have a little bit, and then it'll be, you know, over the top of the MDF, so it'll basically have a hook in it. Bigger one. There she goes. Oh, stuck on one little spot. There it is. Excellent. Tiny bit more. It's out. Hook. There it is. Look at that. There we go. Perfect. Just what I wanted. Excellent. Came out. One piece. Awesome. All right. Take this out and get it cleaned up. Okay, we've got most of the cardboard off so it doesn't cause any issues with anything. But now what I'm going to do, I've already ground this back, cut off any extra I had on there. So what I'll do is I'll put a little bit of fiber fill in right here just to fill that spot in. Get these strengthened up in this area a little bit more. And then I'll take it and I'll set it back in the truck, check everything. My cuts are close. They shouldn't be too bad, I hope. But I just kind of cut them close so I can get it back in there easily. So we'll go test fit it one more time and make sure. And then I'll put a couple layers over the top of it this way. I'll come back to about here. So there's a lot of strength on that. Put one or two down here too. Hold this together and then put resin on the back side of this. And that piece will be pretty much finished up. I'll flip it over and I'll probably put one piece on the entire back of it, just so everything's bonded together on it. So you're end to end. But it came out pretty nice. I'm glad it came out of the hole in one piece. But now it should slide in. It should hook that corner or the passenger side or driver. You should be able to push past it and then pull back. It should go in the right spot. But let me put some fiber fill on this and then we can test fit it back in the truck. All right, here we go. The test fit. Fingers crossed. It should go down in that hole. Look at that. That hole. Fingers out. Oh, not bad. Boom, there it is. All right, it fits in here really good. I did overcut it a little bit. So I got the tap here, bottom's good. Got a little more trim off there. The driver's side, I really missed it. About a ½ inch, 3/4 of an inch. So I just take some cardboard, I'll put it back on this side of it, on the front side, so I can see where it has to be fixed. Tape that on there, tape it on the driver's side, and I'll be able to see that. And then I'll get it out of here and I'll fiberglass the back side with a couple, so I don't break it. Since I cut through this one over here a little bit with the saw. Whoops. No big deal, not gonna hurt anything. But I'll get a couple on the back side and that'll give me my line here. So I should be able to flip it right over after that's dry and then do the front side, fix that spot. And it should fit back in good. But other than that, it fits in here great. Easy to get in, it slides right in the hole and right over. It's great when things work out like they're supposed to. So let's get it out. We'll get some fiberglass on the back side of this and get it marked out where the repairs are. And then that piece will be done. Driver's side over there, there it is marked. Everything's mounted. I've got a couple screws in the bottom here. I put the extra hole that I have to weld a nut to. The top screwed, and the driver's side came out almost perfect on the size. It is a little short back here because I couldn't exactly see that because it had already pulled off of it. So there was no way to really see that. So put this on here, tape it on there. It's just a piece of heavy paper. And I'll fix the side to that line. But this one over here, a little more complicated. So it must have, I went and I accidentally cut through some of this with the saw. So what I got to do here is I put the fiberglass on there. I must have pushed it up too high when I was setting it. But not a big deal. It's easily fixed. What I'll do is I'll take a piece of the foam. I'll stick a piece of foam on here. It's 1/4 inch. You can see right here, I don't know if you can see that or not, but it's 3/4 of an inch from here to here. So I'll put a piece of 1/4 inch foam on there. And then up to here, it's a 1/2 inch. So we'll put another piece of foam on top of that one. And then I'll sand that area out. It goes down to here, these marks right here. So I'll put the first one on like right here, fill that one in, and then put another one on right here, and then sand that back so it's nice and smooth and fits in there. Let's see this here. Yeah, I missed it on this one too, same thing. Just couldn't see that mark. So I'll go right over my piece of paper. I'll leave it right on there. Because when I get that on there, then I can take this back out of here. I can take it out, flip it over, and then put the fiberglass on the back side of it. And with this paper on here, I can see exactly where, you know, the back side's got to hang over too. And being it'll be upside down, it'll hang, so won't have any issues with it sticking or warping or anything. And then when that's cured up, tomorrow I can flip it back over, put some fiberglass on the front side of this piece here that both have to be fixed a little bit, and done. It'll be perfect. So that part is done. Let's see, what else do we got to do? I have to put the seatbelt holes. I got the mounting holes, but I don't have the seatbelt holes in it yet. But I think what I'm going to do is throw the seats back in here and check it over real good and look at everything before I pull this back out. Maybe come up with an idea for a door panel. Well, it's in here. And then yank this out at the end of the day and do the fiberglass work on it, and that'll be done. Then tomorrow I can flip it over and fix that part. So that's the plan. So I want to see what everything looks like with it in here. So let's set everything in here. I got all my interior set in the truck, and man, this thing looks awesome. I love it. Very, very cool. There it is. It is nothing like sitting in a truck now. It is cool. Like sitting in a hot rod now. Look at that. All right. The only thing I don't like is my console. I did make it a little wider. I said that in the previous one. So when I mocked this one up, I'm going to shrink it down a little bit. It looks too big. Take 1 inch out of it, kind of shrink it up a little bit. It looks out of place. Other than that, I absolutely love it. It is very cool. It is very comfortable to sit in. Very nice. So now what I got to do is find a set of gauges, but mainly door panel, come back up with another idea. So now you sit in it with the door panels on it. You feel, because these doors have that curve to them, the door does come in probably, I would say that's got to be a good 2 inches. I would say, from where it would normally, normally a door panel's flat. This sucker curves way in. So I have to think of something a little different. So I was doing the door panels I originally done. They were just off the original, kind of thing, just sitting around playing with ideas. So this might just come out a tiny bit, and that's it, and go back in. So I might kind of go back to what I had on that door, just less than what I had. Probably only come out an inch or so, something like that. Come out, go out about an inch, and then fade back in, something like that maybe. Because if I were to come out like that piece of cardboard I had on there before, where it's about 2 inches, I mean, that would be way out here. And you'd come through, and it kind of just starts to make the cockpit feel a little bit too claustrophobic, can you say? Because right now it's really comfortable. It's like sitting in a Camaro or a Mustang or even an old Corvette. It's very, you're tight, but you're not overwhelmingly tight. And it's cool. I love it. That is a sweet, sweet interior so far. So I think I might go back to that, kind of run a little bit of what I've got on there. With the curve, I'll just bring it up a little higher maybe. I don't know, got to play with that a little bit and see. But let's get on that.